Breaking news, folks. President Donald Trump says the justice system in New York State and in America is under assault, and it most certainly seems like he's right. New York Judge Arthur Engoron, the very clearly politicized judge, by the way, has ruled that the 45th president defrauded banks by inflating his worth to acquire loans, ordering Trump to pay the state of New York $364 million. Leftist lawfare continues on its path, folks. All of this, by the way, despite the fact that the bank Donald Trump supposedly defrauded testified in support of Trump. Got it. Off the heels of what we just watched over the last couple of days with Georgia District Attorney Fani Willis in court, this only proves yet again how corrupt America courts have become, how politicized the system has become against Donald Trump and the whole of the MAGA movement. New York Judge Arthur Engoron, New York Attorney General Letitia James, these people have been clear that their intentions are not as they should be. This is all just part of a pathetic attempt to stop Donald Trump from becoming our 47th president, and it's clearer and clearer by the day it won't work. Looks like Judge Engoron just inched Donald Trump even closer to victory in the 2024 election. Well, we're lucky to have him here. Let's bring in Donald Trump Jr. to react, Executive Vice President of the Trump Organization. Don, first reaction, thank you for joining us. Give us when you saw that number, what were you thinking?
It's just insane. I mean, it's literally, I mean, there are Democrat lawyers in New York that are calling and saying, this is crazy. This is so much worse. This is 5 times worse than we thought it would be. Everyone's screaming about Russia, Russia, Russia. But the reality is what we complain about in Russia is happening right here in the United States of America. The facts of the law don't matter. Your party affiliation and where you live is going to be the determining factor from now on in our courts of law. They've shown that now time and time again, and it's absolutely disgusting.
You know, I saw the number, 354 million, I think, for DJT, and then you and Eric and I think one of the others got 4 or 5 million each, some insane number. I just, Engoron has shown throughout that he's got it out for you guys. I mean, this is clearly going to appeal. We have Alina Habba coming on in the next block, but it's going to go to appeal. But what are you thinking with the appeal?
Well, listen, the reality is it's still New York, right? So you never know. I mean, you got to remember that half of the judgment that you're talking about in the 364, half of that was already ruled inadmissible because of statute of limitations in the Court of Appeals. The Court of Appeals has already ruled that, and this judge simply decided to ignore that because, again, it's not about the law. It's not about the facts. It's about penalizing Trump, trying to hurt Joe Biden's #1 political rival. That couldn't be more clear. Imagine just ignoring the appellate division that's already ruled on these things and just saying, you know what, I'm going to pretend like they don't matter. The next natural court in the land in New York State just totally ignored. It's just absolute insanity.
Don, the judge, Engoron, had about a 70 or 80 page ruling, and in it he said Trump showed no remorse. And I'm thinking, no remorse because no one was injured. This is a victimless crime, but somehow he's attaching his massive judgment to Trump not showing remorse.
Yeah, I mean, it's not about remorse. There's no victim, in this thing. The alleged victim, Deutsche Bank, a huge, probably close to $1 trillion institution, got on the stand, said they were paid back in full, said that we never missed a payment. They made hundreds of millions of dollars in interest on this, and they wanted to do more business with Trump, not less. Doing business with the Trump Organization was a feather in their cap, not a liability. But again, that didn't matter. As it related to Eric and I, every single witness said we had nothing to do with the things in question. Didn't matter. Again, as I said, even liberals were like, they're going to release those guys because they had nothing to do with that. That's pretty clear. The judge found that Michael Cohen, someone who's perjured himself so many times at this point on the stand, that was a credible witness.
Went to jail.
He perjured himself on the stand. Went to jail. This one.
He went to jail for that.
Well, he went to jail for it, but then did it again in this very case. He perjured himself in front of this very judge, and that doesn't matter. He's the one that's credible, not us. With, again, witnesses, their star witnesses saying that we were, in fact, in the right and we were fine. It's absolutely mind-blowing, Eric.
So, it's mind-blowing to me and should be to everyone watching right now. Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York, before she was elected, ran on getting Trump. And this is her baby. This is her case. It just blows me away that the world didn't see it, that Engoron didn't see that this was this was her payback. You elected me. I'm going to go get Trump. And in the end, so far she has. So your thoughts to Letitia James?
Well, we said that from moment one, before she knew anything, before she looked into the cases. She said that this is what she's going to do. And again, in an area like New York, where it's entirely stacked against you, 90-something% Democrat. And again, if you're a Republican, if you were on a jury, they avoided a jury in this one because I guess they thought a jury would give it to us, so we'll do a bench trial. But someone couldn't do that. They wouldn't be able to go to a restaurant again. They wouldn't be able to go to their children's school because it's so heavily weighted as a one-party state. This is by design. It's why they're choosing these venues. It's the same thing what you see going on in Georgia right now with Fani Willis. It's the same thing why the grand jury in the Florida case was actually a grand jury in Washington, D.C. for a case in Florida, because they understand that in front of a grand jury in D.C., the rule of law, basic decency, all of the above, it doesn't matter. We're going to go after our political enemies. We're going to show them. And, again, they're doing it right now in America while we're complaining about what's going on in Russia. It's pretty ironic.
So the judge says, and part of the ruling was 3 years banning, I guess you can't get loans from banks in New York. And he also went so far as to say, hey, banks in New York, don't lend them money, which I find that a leap, right? So when the legal system jumps into the private businesses of banks, telling them what they can and can't do, I have a serious problem with that. But he says you can't get loans from banks, but you also can't sell any properties. So what are they telling you? What's your next 3 years look like?
I think they're just trying to make it as difficult as we can. Hopefully the appellate division has some sense and some reasonableness, and they understand the slippery slope of what this causes. If this is allowed to happen, any attorney general can just threaten someone after the fact. You didn't contribute to my political campaign. You know what? We're going to go after you for $1 billion, and, we're probably going to win because it's New York. The opening that this creates for graft and outright theft and essentially extortion, which is all this is as far as I'm concerned, extortion against your political enemies, they've just opened that door wide open, and it's just un-American. It's absolutely despicable.
So it's alarming. It's appalling, this judgment for anyone who's an American. Forget if you're pro-Trump or not. If you see something like this, $364 million for a victimless crime, it's insanity. I'm just thinking of all the bad things that are going on that don't get punished. The resiliency of Trump is to be noted, though. Yeah. He's being persecuted in Georgia, in New York, in the federal level, and everywhere, and yet he comes back. I think he's got a big rally tomorrow in Michigan. I think we're going to take that as well here. But talk to us about how he's standing up with all this coming at him.
Listen, he's a fighter. He could have stopped doing any of this stuff, Eric, after 2020, just packed it up. Everything would have been fine. They would have left him alone. But he believes in this stuff. He understands where it's going. He understands the slippery slope I was just talking about. He's not going to stop. He's going to keep fighting for our country because he understands that if you don't, and it's not like the Republican Party puts up too many good fighters, if you don't do it now, you get past a point of no return where the republic is lost. We will become the Marxist state that the Democrats seemingly want, and those kinds of political persecutions will continue. He's the guy standing in the way of that. That's a huge burden.
Is he mad?
He understands the burden and the responsibility.
Did this make him mad? Does this give him more resolve to win? Just give us a sort of emotional breakdown.
I spoke with him earlier. He can't believe it because you can't believe that this sort of thing's happening in America today, but it is, and it just strengthens his resolve to keep fighting. He's not going to stop. People see it. People see how ridiculous it is. Again, there are people that probably hate our guts on the other side, in the legal field in New York, Columbia law professors that are saying we've never even seen anything like this. This is not even, above and beyond the law. They're just making it up as they go along. When those people who probably hate your guts are absolutely disgusted at what's going on, there's a serious problem going on in America, and that's why this is so critical. I think the American public sees the overreach, the absolute insanity of it all, what you're not allowed to talk about, the flagrant disregard, giving credence and credibility to people like Michael Cohen. That's the star witness. They get it, and they understand that, again, it's only a matter of time till it comes to them, till it's one of their loved ones, till it's their business. And I think they're going to wake up very quickly if they haven't already. All
right, we're going to leave it right there. Appreciate you jumping to a camera for us on this breaking news night. Thank you, Donald Trump Jr. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.